Hola, from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. I would say happy Saturday, but I don't know how happy a Saturday night it is for us, you know? Depending on where you are in the country, your city may be under curfew right now. Hey, Mo Grizzly. Hola. You know, most of you guys know that I live in Southern California. And LA and the cities surrounding it have been on curfew since 8 o'clock tonight. It's been about 2 hours. There are fires going on in parts of Los Angeles where opportunists have, decided to cause havoc. But I'm happy to say that at this point, none of that has traveled to the south central part of Los Angeles. That was the area that got destroyed in the riots back in the 90s. However, you guys saw, I posted a picture up on my community tab. If you haven't had a chance, you can check it out later. They're out there, these people are out there looting like Nordstrom's, the Apple store, the Nike store, Target, Whole Foods grocery store. The police ran them up out of that one. There's no purpose is being served with the looting. And I can tell you it's not the people that are out there protesting for George Floyd and Breonna and Armand. It's not them. No, these are factions that are coming around. Now, of course, people are trying to say, oh, no, they're just, doing, this is just by opportunity. This isn't planned. That's a bunch of BS. The people who are out there doing this stuff had plans. Their plan was to wreak havoc if they had the opportunity. And the crazy thing, is that on the news media here in Southern California is calling them bad actors. I guess, after the thugs that 45 was referring to were found to be not people of color, we now need to call them something else. Bad actors. It's just crazy, though. That's all that's on any regular TV. Yeah, they're showing the Bloomingdale's store in Beverly Hills here. So the city of Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Culver City, I believe Inglewood, Pasadena. I'm not sure if Glendale, West Hollywood, but all of these cities went on 8 p.m. curfew. I happened to be out at the grocery store in Inglewood when they were about to shut down, and they were rushing people out of the Vons. Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to put you guys on mute for just 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to put it on mute for a second. But yeah, it's getting out of hand. I believe Chicago is on a curfew. Atlanta. I believe they're trying to do it in my hometown, DC. New York. I'm not sure about in New York because, you know, they were actually acting like they had some sense there. Did you see their pictures of the protests in Harlem where they were just on their knees with one fist raised? You know, they're showing you all of the people who are acting a fool, but there was many things out there. There were many of them out there that were actually peaceful. But see, the peaceful protesters went home. The people that came out at night, yeah, those are the opportunists. The bad actors, as they're calling them. Bad actors.
Crackheads.
Really?
Steal some shoes.
I mean, yeah, they're stealing shoes.
Steal a TV.
I think they set one of those shoe palaces or shoe place, one of them shoe stores, on fire. You know, after they went in there and stole all the shoes. They stole all the shoes in the Nike store too. Glad to see that this is what you guys are going for. The whole situation is pretty sad. And I saw them burning cop cars in Seattle. I wonder, is Seattle on curfew tonight? I don't know if Uppity's on. She might be, but she's usually in the clouds. But you guys, it's insane out there. And we were filming today. We did start filming the movie, but we had to shut down filming like around 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon because of the curfew. You know, because, you know, some people who were there, they had a long way to drive to get home. So, but we'll be back next week to finish up what we were filming this week, curfew or no curfew. We'll just make sure they were done before 8. Good. I'm right now. We're just watching, like here, literally watching the police walking in a line down the street in Beverly Hills. Because, you know, cannot have the looting in the areas of town that are considered non-minority. But see, that's the thing. Because of what happened here 25, almost 30 years ago, none of that stuff is going south of Wilshire Boulevard. Whereas the last time, nothing went north of Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And Wilshire is kind of like the cutoff, you know, in the city for those who are unfamiliar with the Los Angeles area. Because Crenshaw Boulevard, which is, you know, the street that everyone saw all the fires on back in 92, literally ends at Wilshire Boulevard. Literally ends. That's where the street ends. Hey, Miss Mahogany. Girl, I'm at home. I have been home since before 8 o'clock. We did do some of the filming. We still have some more scenes to do. It's all good. It is because the film that we're doing is timely because it's about colorism. This is just crazy. All of this is just crazy. And they are still denying that that these are cops that are starting some of this stuff. Now, here in Los Angeles, they did admit that there's some undercover cops out in the crowds, to monitor stuff. But we are just now coming out of, being in the house. And these fools are out here in these streets doing stuff that is going to, give these people an excuse to implement martial law. See, the pandemic didn't do that because people actually had sense and stayed their butts home. They didn't get out in the streets and act a fool. They didn't go and try to go into stores and steal stuff. But now that everything is starting to open back up, now y'all gonna show y'all behinds. So, the National Guard has been called in to Los Angeles, which is ridiculous because this didn't even happen in LA. This happened in Minneapolis. And I'm not saying that LAPD is perfect or anything, but they have come a long way from what they were when we had those riots after Rodney King. They've come a long way. And what they learned from that is that, I don't know, the cops might need to come from the actual community that they serve, because then maybe they're not going to come in there and act a fool and do some stupid stuff like this man did in Minnesota. And it wasn't the first time that he did it. And then there is another cop that is Asian. Let me just tell you that there are Asian influencers all over Instagram that are riding on him and saying he needs to be fired and charged as well, because he also did some crazy stuff. I believe that he is the one that did the kneeing of the one who the city of Minneapolis had to pay for back in 2014. And they would just stand there like just as calm while they were killing this man. Somebody needs to do something about the police department in Minneapolis. A lot of heads need to roll, and all 4 of those men need to go on trial for murder. Period. Point blank. And I believe a lot of us heard there's a viral video that's going around with the young lady who's talking about, what the peaceful protesters, what we want, what they want, we want all 4 of those men in police custody, charged, not just the one who did it, because the other 3 allowed that to happen. The other 3 allowed that to happen. But see, they've gotten away with this before. That's why they let it happen. That's why they let it happen. They've gotten away with this crap before. Period. One second, you guys. Be right back. I gotta turn this fire off. I was making me an Impossible Burger, and I didn't want it to burn. I'm the only one in the house having something plant-based tonight. The historic Tennessee courthouse, I hadn't heard about that, but I did hear that in my hometown, they are trying to break into the U.S. Treasury Department. Right now, that's what we're hearing. Good luck with that one, because you're going to now be dealing with the federal police. And they shoot and ask questions later. I'm just telling you. That's how they work.
Blow your ass up and you have to fill out the paperwork on their lunch break.
They're just going to shoot. So the fools that are in D.C. trying to do that kind of crazy stuff, you're going to be dead. You're going to be dead. Yeah. Because that's how they roll. I mean, CNN, in the ATL, multiple stores have gone up in flames in Los Angeles. Police cars have been set on fire across the country.
Can I read you a quote?
Okay, we're gonna hear a quote here, y'all. I'm gonna put our music down a little bit here.
It's not very long, but it's accurate.
All right, so go ahead, babe. Read the quote.
Riots in the streets. National Guard called in at least 13 states. 40 million unemployed. Over 100,000 dead. Is Trump finished making America great again?
Lovely, isn't that quote? That's what's going on right now. How many people are unemployed right now?
40 million unemployed.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
Is he finished making America great again? That's the question.
You know, because places were just now starting to open back up. People were getting ready to go back to work. And, you know, a lot of these retailers, they literally are days away from not being able to live wherever it is that they live, to feed their families. And now we're dealing with this stupidity. Wait a minute, sis, breaking news. This so-called fake $20 bill is real, and the people who use cup foods want to pay for his funeral service. Wow. Wow. This is just crazy. I mean, but I told you guys, didn't I tell y'all? I told y'all I felt it in my spirit at the beginning of this week. And, you know, I don't talk, you know, about all that stuff, but, you know, one of the things that I do know about me is that I have prophetic visions, and I felt like that this is not going to end well, that this summer is going to be a hot summer. I saw fires. When I said that, but I didn't really understand what that meant. And here we are days later, and there are fires across the country. Cars on fire, police cars on fire, buildings on fire, people doing trash can fires. They burnt out this little, it looks like a nail shop or something. It probably was just about to open back up, and a retailer next to it. Both of them got burnt down, and then the only one that survived was the restaurant on the corner. This is great. And that they're showing you people who are stealing and looting places, running out with big screen TVs. So apparently they looted the place and set it on fire. This is insane. Oh no, it's a Starbucks that's on the corner. It's not a restaurant. It's a Starbucks on the corner. Last night they were busting out the windows of a Starbucks in downtown. So what happened today is that they moved all of these people who were and kept them from getting into downtown, but they moved them west. So they moved west and they moved through the Fairfax district and they moved to Beverly Hills. So they moved to all of these affluent parts of the city. See, now if they had to move to Crenshaw, wouldn't have nobody said nothing. But that wasn't going to happen. I'm telling you, the folks that live in those areas weren't going to let that stuff come to their area again. You know, in LA, they're not trying to burn down the Black Hoods because the Black Hoods got burnt down in the 90s. And I'm telling you, it took them until in the last 5 years to get some of that stuff back. But y'all don't hear me though. You know, I mean, what these people are doing, this is not about George Floyd. This is people who are frustrated and they just see an opportunity to take. And so they are. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at these people. I ain't seen no black people down there. And this is in Los Angeles. That wasn't black people. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I saw everything else. So this is, I bet you we're going to be on curfew the whole weekend. Probably into the week. And here's the crazy thing. Churches are supposed to be opening back up tomorrow. Now, my personal church is not going to be opening back up tomorrow. But, you know, some other churches are going to open on up. And I guess they're going to pick that 100 people who can go to church. I don't know what they're going to do about this. But I saw, like, I don't know in other places, but like here they had like religious leaders get up there. Community leaders get up there from, you know, from all of the different sects. And they're still burning down buildings tonight. That's what's going on. In it's not even my city. It's just I happen to live in one of the surrounding cities. And whatever happens when things happen in LA, it affects the rest of us. It affects the rest of us. You know, but ain't nobody burning nothing down in the area that I'm in. But stores close their doors, except for, of course, 7-Eleven, you know, because they're open 24 hours a day. At 8 o'clock because of curfew. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to be going to those 7-Elevens, but I'll tell you about in my neighborhood. You know who's hanging out at the 7-Eleven right now? The police. So they can catch somebody coming up in there who has no business being over there. And they're shooting off fireworks around. That's going to be going on for the rest of the summer. The rest of the summer. But the fires and the looting. You know, I know some people, you know, think that burning down buildings and all of that, they want everything to be burnt down and everything. You know, but the people who live in those communities won't have grocery stores. They won't have clothing stores. And the people who are burning all these things down don't even live in those communities. I'm just telling y'all like it is. It's not the people that live in those communities that are doing that. And certainly it isn't, the people of color doing all of that nonsense in Minneapolis. I understand the people being upset though, but it's not Black people when they're only 3% of the actual population of the city. Let that sink in. Okay?
No, can't do that.
In Minneapolis, African Americans comprise 3% of the entire population. So I know we big and bad, but I don't think we're the ones out there doing all the looting and the burning of buildings in Minneapolis. Nonetheless, the National Guard was called there yesterday. And tomorrow they'll be in Los Angeles. As in the words of Ice Cube in his PSA that I know many of us saw, welcome to Syria 2020 in the USA. Because, the National Guard coming in and everything, we're talking about people who are military trained. Now, of course, they're coming in to assist. But I think, and I'm just saying here in Los Angeles, I believe that the reason they called them in is because they know, based on what happened back in with the riots back in 92, when it was actually their problem, it was the problem here from their police department, that they might want to bring in the National Guard, because right now, this isn't LAPD's police department's issue. However, they are getting, hit with it because they are all police officers. So everybody in blue, yeah. I mean, I think some people have, in regards to, the anger, the reason why people are angry at all of the police departments is because this is going on across the country, all over. This time, it wasn't LAPD, but I know several cases in the last few years that were them. And one of them was with a man who had a developmental disability. But he was Black. That's why when I saw that Facebook post where someone has put a sign up on their lawn in regards to their autistic adult son, so that the police won't come in there and shoot him because he's Black. And I think about the time that my son accidentally called the police just a few months ago. And they came to my house. And it was 2 white officers. Thankfully, when I said to them that the person who called them was someone with autism, they knew about autism, and they just asked me to have him to come to the door so that they could talk to him. And thankfully now, where I live is tagged in their system. Hey, Chrissia, how are you? Hey, Ray, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. This is just, y'all, I just don't. I mean, it gives me flashbacks of 1992, but it's on steroids because then it was just LA. And it was LA's problem. But I just think that people are so sick of this going on over and over and over and over and over again. They are killing Black people. You have people who are police officers who have no business wearing the uniform because they are using that uniform to get their hate out because they don't like us. You see, we don't have an issue with white people. We have an issue with racists. That's where the issue is. The issue is with racists. So now, I don't believe that all white people are racist. I don't. And I believe that the ones who are not are pissed. They're just as fed up as we are. But, at this point, we all are feeling the same way. They're calling out, these people who are doing this crap. And yes, there are many good police officers. And I'm sorry for you being caught up in the middle of this stuff because of these ignorant fools. But enough is enough. If your job is to protect and serve, maybe you need to understand that it is no longer just to protect and serve white people, but it is to protect and serve all people. Because we know that originally that's what the police departments were for. They were to protect and serve them. But now we're here too. And this has got to stop. It's got to stop. And although I don't agree with all of the stuff that's going on with the looting and the burning the buildings and everything, I understand some people's frustration. I commend the people who were able to just get out there and do the silent protest. But we all know that we've done silent protests for years and years and years and years, and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. Yeah, you can think back to the 50s.
Selma.
Selma, where they were taking water hoses and spraying all of those, peaceful protesters.
Don't forget the dogs.
Oh yeah, and the dogs. And they were beating them in the heads with batons. That's what? It's 2020, so that's like almost 70 years ago. Isn't that crazy? And the same thing has gone on in peaceful protests around the world. Around this world. They're even, if you guys haven't seen it, they even had people protesting in Italy, in South Africa. This has gone global. So now everybody's worried about us Black people getting killed in the street by police officers in America. Now everybody's concerned about it. Except for 45, even though he tries to pretend that he is. He's not. He don't care. He don't really care because he helped this to come about by allowing all of this craziness to continue and just blowing it off. Okay, so now here we are. And do you guys now understand what Kaepernick was on his knee about? Do y'all understand now? Do y'all understand now? He wasn't being disrespectful, but I know for sure that police officer in Minneapolis with his knee in that man's neck was being disrespectful. And he killed a man and kept his knee on him even after the man was unresponsive for another couple of minutes. Like, seriously. Hey, AKA James. Wow. I mean, it's madness, y'all. So, you know, the more people act up from city to city around the United States, the more we give them the idea that maybe they should implement this martial law that they were really, hinting at and thinking they were going to have to do during COVID, but they didn't have to because, people were worried about actually, dying from this stuff. So now they don't care. They don't care about that no more. They're on to the next. Now they're like finally free, able to come out the house. And the first thing that people start doing is exercising their First Amendment rights. Well, of course, now you guys do realize that they're trying to keep us from being able to exercise that right because of these fools who are out there doing the stupid stuff. So, see, that hurts everyone. So that'll mean that every time we want to have a peaceful protest or just want to get out there and, boycott or, picket, we can't do that no more because of these fools. That's what they're trying to push it to. FYI, I have a lot of friends that are in the music and entertainment industry, and apparently on Tuesday, they're doing a blackout. Like they're disconnecting the whole day, shutting everything down. Saw that on one of my friends who works for Capitol Records on his IG page. So I see people trying to do specific things, but I just want to know how is this going to help George Floyd? How is this going to help Breonna? How is this going to help Ahmaud? How's this going to help their families? Now, if all of this stuff that everybody's doing, forces Minneapolis to bring those other 3 into custody, who, by the way, have been fired. They did get fired as well. So nobody's out on administrative leave. They're all fired. But here's my thing. Are they still eligible for their pension if they're fired and they don't get convicted of anything? Just wondering. And I think I saw on somebody's page, I'm not sure who it was, but I saw on someone's page that police officer owns an expensive piece of property in Florida that is more expensive than he could have possibly gotten on his Minneapolis policeman's salary. And as far as we know, the only other thing that he did was he did what? Security at a club that ironically George Floyd also worked as security. Now, we don't know if they actually knew each other at that club.
Hate crime.
Or whether they, worked the same shifts. We don't know.
Hate crime.
But isn't that an interesting fact that nobody talked about it at the beginning? These two possibly knew each other, which would take that third degree murder, manslaughter, up to at least second degree. But personally, I feel that if they can prove that this was a hate crime, that man needs to go away with first degree murder, which is more than the 35 years that he might get for the third degree. See, that would carry, I don't know. I don't know what the laws are in Minnesota as far as death penalty, but I know he'd at least get life. I know he'd at least get that. A life for a life. He took this other man's life. He didn't think anything of taking this other man's life. This man was begging him, telling him that he couldn't breathe. And he sat there, had that knee in, and had his hand in his freaking pocket. What kind of crap is that? Just freaking. Y'all know I don't curse online. Because I would be lying if I said I've never cursed. I could get potty mouth. But you got to get me real pissed off for that to happen online. Yeah, you do. I guess that comes from doing radio and, not ever wanting to pay that FCC fine when I was doing radio. So I try to keep it PG or R at the most, but every once in a while a word might slip, but they haven't yet. I've been good. I let my dude do it for me. Y'all, I don't even understand this. I know I'm just talking, but I'm gonna drop the link if anybody wants to come up. We got like about another 15. If anybody wants to come up, if y'all don't, y'all know I can continue to talk because I do that well. But I will give an opportunity if anyone else wants to get up here and give their feelings. I have my angel up tonight because, I feel that prayer is needed. Prayer is needed. The situation it's out of control. And it's only 4 days in. I mean, because all of this has been since we, the video. Everybody started seeing the video on Monday. And I truly believe that if that video had not gone viral, that man would not be in custody. I really believe that. He wouldn't be in custody at all. PG is good. I know everybody's quiet. That's okay. It's one of those things that, I think we all have just been, we don't know really what to expect. I can't say that I really expected Los Angeles to react this way, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You know, because for them, this is just like flashbacks of Rodney King, you know. I mean, where, you know, the world saw that video. The world saw that video. And then those 4 cops or 5, 6, however many cops it was, went on trial, and then they even took it out of LA County. Took it out of the county because they didn't think they could get a fair trial. So they took it to a county where they had no vested interest in what the outcome would be, and got these fools off. And then LA commenced to showing their behinds. South Central LA, that is. You know. And this happened. The ironic thing is that actually happened in the Valley division of LA. So it didn't even happen in the city part of it when he got beat. He was out in the Valley. Okay? Which explains why he was on the side of the road getting his butt beat in the Rodney King case. But they tried to convince us that we didn't see what we saw. But see, now, with the advent of all of these wonderful camera phones, you know, that give you better video than sometimes you can get from your professional, you know, cameras. And that young lady, that 17-year-old young lady who stood there and videotaped it while grown men were around her and did nothing and just watched. If it wasn't for her and her video going viral, that man would still be walking the streets. And that's what he thought when he did it. He felt no remorse. His wife is divorcing him. But I don't know if she's divorcing him because of this, or if she's divorcing him because of stuff that was already going on, because she said she was filing for divorce. But again, this wasn't his first rodeo in, you know, harming someone. It wasn't. It wasn't the first time. Yeah, I don't have, there's no judgment here. You can say something, you guys. This is a safe zone. We just kind of talk about stuff here. You know, I have my opinion about things, but I'm certainly not going to try to force someone else to have the same opinion as me. You know, some people, like I said, some people are quite okay with the fires and, you know, all of that disruptive stuff that, you know, is really hurting those communities, and it's not really serving the ultimate purpose. I know it's out of frustration, but, you know, there's some people that are fine with all of that going on. I'm not fine with it because the people who are doing it are not the people who are being blamed for it. You know, it's interlopers, it's outsiders coming in there and doing it. And in some cases, it's cops. Because we all know about that, you know, the video of the cop, where the cop got caught. And where people were telling him. Then I think I've seen another video where it was like a bunch of cops. They weren't, you know, they obviously weren't dressed as police officers. But they were dressed, obviously, so people knew that they were cops, you know, because sometimes you can't pretend to not be a cop, you know, when you're trying to blend in. You still stick out like a sore thumb. And especially if you are non-black and you are busting out windows and stuff and everything, well, this isn't even really your issue. Why are you doing that? So you look suspect. But see, then you don't understand that part. Because y'all been doing this for a long time. Y'all been doing this for a while. This isn't the first time that this has happened. This is just when you're getting caught. I wouldn't be surprised if they were not undercover officers in all of the cities where the peaceful protests were, who were among the people who caused the rioting and looting in those cities. I wouldn't put it past, LA. I don't put it past Chicago. Definitely don't put it past Minnesota, because we already got that one called out in Minneapolis. So yeah, they probably burned down the police department too. They probably burned down their own police department. I'm not saying they did, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And the stuff in Minneapolis was making people feel like it was like a purge. All of this stuff going on is starting to feel like a purge. It's like, what? They didn't get enough people with the virus, so now we'll find another way to get people. But, as these people are getting arrested, because some of them are getting arrested, they're getting out. Because we're still technically in the COVID situation, So they're not keeping these people in custody. They're citing them for whatever and then moving on. And they didn't even want to be bothered with all that paperwork. They just wish the people would just go home. But they're still out there. They are still out there. When I started this, I came on here later because I was watching what was going on. And yeah, they're still out there doing stuff. Now everybody's supposed to be at home. There was an 8 o'clock curfew. Apparently people don't understand what an 8 o'clock curfew is. Because they're still milling around, doing stupid stuff in the city. So it's going to be a very interesting morning tomorrow morning when the curfew is lifted at 5:30 a.m. Which by that time, I'm sure that the National Guard will already be here. Yep, it'll be interesting. So we should see them coming through. That'll probably be what'll be on the news in the morning. This is how LA is handling it. They're not even going to let it escalate to that stuff that happened here in 92 when it was their issue. It was their police officers who had beat somebody up. Thankfully, in that situation, Rodney King wasn't dead. And he was able to come to court. But George Floyd doesn't have that opportunity. Because they murdered him. Armand doesn't have that opportunity. Because that retired cop and his son murdered him. Breonna doesn't have that opportunity. Because those officers came into her home, did not identify themselves as officers. Her boyfriend, trying to protect his home, shot at them, and then they shot up the house, and she got shot 8 times. So she won't be able to go to court to testify. So that's what the peaceful protests are about. That's what people are angry about. They want something to be done for these 3 people, and the many more unknowns that we don't know about. But the reality is that this is happening to Black people at a higher number than everyone else. We have a broken system that is against us. And there's many of us who, thankfully, knock on wood, have never had to face this legal system in our life. We've never been arrested. We've got clean records. But that's not the case for many other people who may do a stupid crime, but their white counterpart who does the exact same crime does not serve the same time, is not treated the same way. I mean, you guys may not have seen it, but there was a picture of this guy who had killed and kidnapped people, and the police had him handcuffed, sitting, and they were offering him water. George Floyd allegedly wrote a bad check, and he had a knee in his neck. He had a knee in his neck. Hey, Cast Life. He had a knee in his neck. And now suddenly the whole country cares about what's happening to us. Now that's what we're supposed to believe. Because we're having all of these protests. But there were protests after Amber Geiger killed that young man in Texas. And she somehow did not go to jail for a first-degree murder when she should have. So the system is broken when it comes to cops who murder Black people. They don't get charged with first-degree murder, if they get charged at all. It's broken. And that's what the problem is. Cops do not treat people of color the same for the same crimes as they do people of other ethnicities. And it's really Black and brown that they treat like crap. It really is. But, we are true, Black people are a smaller minority. In a few years, brown won't be the minority, which is a problem for white people as well. And ironically, with this virus, Black and brown were the ones who were affected the most percentage with. Wow. No matter what our socio-economic status was. So that was even up to more affluent. And that's because we don't trust doctors. Brown don't trust doctors that much either. And a lot of times it has to do with many of them, sometimes your older people don't really speak really good English, and they're going to English-speaking doctors, and they don't trust what that doctor's saying because they don't really understand what he's saying. I know that for a fact from when my dad was practicing dermatology here in California. Well, we don't advertise that our family is of Cuban descent. But when his patients would come into the office and I was in the office helping him, I would let them know that the doctor spoke Spanish. And I would just like see the relief on these people's faces. Now I'm talking about people that were from El Salvador or Honduras, and they were thankful because they trusted somebody that they could understand. And, they're not a whole bunch of like, Black doctors. There's starting to be more. I was fortunate to have mainly Black doctors most of my life. And I trusted that because they were friends with my dad. So, but historically, yeah, we don't trust doctors because they're not a whole bunch of Black doctors who we feel would know us better. But I've already told you guys that medicine is an art more than a science. Doctors can only diagnose things that they've seen before. In this coronavirus, they hadn't seen before. And they could probably get a cure for it, but I bet you there won't be. I don't know what to say about the vaccine because, now that the U.S. has pissed off China and Hong Kong, we may never have it. But he doesn't care. Because he thinks that he can come up with the stuff or, but, yeah, we have a lot of good researchers within this country. But with something like this that has affected the entire world, you might want to do a world consortium to come up with something. I'm just saying. But I feel that 45 is going to use all of this stuff that's going on, even though he's claiming that he's going to have, this looked at the federal level. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see, is what I say. We'll see. Yeah, but that's what you're saying. It wasn't a fake $20 bill. It was a real $20 bill. See? So again, this man died for nothing. Again, this man died for nothing. He died because you didn't like him. And, I think the other dude, now here's the thing. George might not have known the officer, but I bet that officer knew who he was. I bet the officer knew who he was. Hey, problem child. It is. The systematic racism is everywhere. It's not just here in the United States. It's everywhere that we are. It's everywhere that Black people are. There is systematic racism because, unfortunately, the European has decided that they are superior to us, even though we had great civilizations while they were in caves. But I digress. I'm gonna get ready to get off of here because I don't want to be on here all night. And this is so depressing what we're talking about. I mean, what I'm talking about, I hate that this is what we're talking about. I was hoping that we would be talking about good things coming out of hibernation, but we're not. We're talking about stupid stuff that's senseless, People are looting. Hey, everyone. How are y'all? I thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with me tonight. I did do part of my movie today, but we're going to be back again next week. Hopefully we won't be on, on curfew next Saturday. Hopefully between now and then, something's going to happen. I really hope that those other 3 officers are in custody very, very soon, because they all are responsible for that man being dead. That's my personal opinion. I'm not going to change it. But I will see you guys later on today, for those of you who are outside of Pacific time. Because if you're not in Pacific time, then it is Sunday already. But I will be back Sunday after Cyber Church, because my church won't be going to church in the building this week. But after Cyber Church, I might come hang out with y'all during the day, because it's going to be crazy this weekend. I told y'all it was going to be a hot summer. I told y'all it was going to be a hot summer. I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. But I wasn't. And it's going to continue. It's going to be worse before it gets better. But until tomorrow, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. Everybody stay safe. Now that there are people out there acting a fool out in the streets, it's really about to get lit if those other officers are not arrested. It's about to get lit. All right, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.